Everybody, I want to welcome everybody to the December 12th, 2017 Board of Commissioners meeting. This morning, we're blessed to have Pastor Eldrin Morrison from the Shaw Temple AME Zion Church to lead us with our benediction, or invocation, sorry about that. And then Deputy Sheriff Jason Kohler will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. He's been with the Sheriff's Office since 2009. So, Pastor, if you please, those who are willing and if so able, please stand.
Let us pray. Gracious Father, we come at this time to ask your blessings upon this meeting. We come in these turbulent times, times of trouble and strife, times of social and political unrest. We ask your presence in these deliberations today. We pray your presence in our homes and in our lives. We ask that you bless Cobb County and bless homes and families across this country. We pray in this season that you not allow us or make us to be as Herod or as Caesar, but make us in this Christmas season to be like innkeepers, to be like shepherds, wise men, who await your will and will do what it takes to bring your Son and his grace into fruition in this world. Bless us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor, Deputy, appreciate it. Before we go into tab 1, I'd like to make a motion to add to consent agenda non-agenda item, tab 4, item number 29. We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Call a question. Passes 5-0. Okay, thank you very much. All right, we have a number of presentations this morning, and it's going to be my great honor to give the very first one. So if I could have the board and Mrs. Patty Latch, please.
Yeah, I know. I had to do it. Forgive me later, please. As you all know, I'm a big patron of the library, as I'm a big patron of all our staff. But today, I'd really like to take some time to recognize a very special lady on our county staff. And this is Miss Patty Latch, and I'd like to read what her accomplishments are and why she means so much to us. On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I would like to offer our congratulations and deepest thanks for your more than 4 decades of service to the Cobb County Public Library System. Having started the Children's Library at Gritter's Library, you demonstrated your steadfast devotion to the residents throughout your rise through the system. Meanwhile, your 30 years of coordinating the system's book sales helped financially support our libraries and built a cadre of volunteers that continue to this day, of which I'm a very proud member. You supported children's programs and coordinated the summer reading program, providing formative, positive experience for generations of youth. You have mentored, coached, and shared your vast experience with your fellow librarians and proved yourself a stalwart champion of our entire community. Your work, knowledge, and skills are worth more than Cobb County can ever express, and we can only salute your tireless efforts on behalf of the public. Thank you for all that you do for us, and I've signed this letter of appreciation, but it comes from all the board. So thank you very much. Okay, you get to do 3 words.
Oh, 3 words.
Actually, 30.
Can I say
40 words.
Can I ask them? Libraries are so important to the public, and I can't tell you how important it is to me to have the support of the board, and I hope that it continues.
Now, Patty, photo op. Thank you. Now, Commissioner Rod has a presentation? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Cupid.
We look a little alike.
He wishes.
Good morning, everyone. We have a bit of a unique presentation this morning with members of the Covered Bridge Historic District coming here to actually do a presentation for the Board of Commissioners. So I'm going to just turn the mic over. If we can have those residents who are here for that presentation come forward. Okay. Yes, you can certainly do that. Thank you.
Good morning. The Friends of the Concord Covered Bridge Historic District Incorporated do hereby recognize Cobb County Commissioner Chairman Mike Boyce, District 1 Commissioner Bob Weatherford, District 2 Commissioner Bob Ott, District 3 Commissioner Joanne Burrell, and the Historic District's own District 4 Commissioner Lisa Cupid for their collective wisdom and ongoing actions to preserve Cobb County's historic landmark, the Concord Covered Bridge on Concord Road at Nickajack Creek. With the imminent completion of the structural and safety renovations of the Concord Covered Bridge approved by this Board of Commissioners, our historic landmark will soon be reopened to carry today's modern vehicular traffic while maintaining the integrity and characteristics of the original historic structure built in the mid-1800s. Listed on the National Register of Historic Places, the Concord Covered Bridge is truly one of Cobb County's unique crown jewels, and with its preservation can continue to be enjoyed by both residents and visitors for generations to come. On behalf of our board and members who are passionate advocates of the rich historic, cultural, and natural heritage of the Concord Covered Bridge and its historic district, we collectively say thank you very much. As a token of our sincere gratitude and appreciation for the Board of Commissioners' continued investment in preservation, we wish to present Cobb County with this framed artwork of the Concord Covered Bridge.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we wanted to give you a little background on the artist. Don Pettigrew, who is the artist of this particular painting, was actually the founder of the Great Hayhira Pick-In. He was a resident of Valdosta, Georgia, had won the governor's stamp, duck stamp, and was a well-renowned artist. So we hope that you will treasure this. We treasure what you have done for us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, the next one, again, the board, I'm going to let Commissioner Burrow read the proclamation, and then the board will join her in honoring this fine man.
Good morning, everyone. I have the distinct honor with the board today to honor a very special individual in our community. Most of you know David Connell, who's been our chamber president for many years and a servant leader in the public, is retiring this year, at the end of this year. So David, would you and I think Sharon's here from the chamber, and Slade and Miss Bonner and Nelson Jeter, would y'all come up, please? I'd like to read just a little bit. He has such an extensive background in service. We couldn't fit it all on a proclamation. So in your books, there's a more detailed description of his life in words. So thank you, David, for all you do. Whereas David Connell began, are y'all coming down?
Oh, sure, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Whereas David Connell began his tenure as president and CEO of the Cobb Chamber of Commerce in November of 2010. Once in office, David led a complete overhaul of the chamber through a robust strategic planning process. In 2012, David led the effort to create Cobb's Competitive Edge program to grow the economy and create and retain jobs within Cobb and the region, and created strong partnerships between the public and private sectors. Today, the Chamber is recognized as one of the most influential business organizations in Georgia. And whereas in 2013, the Cobb Chamber was named as one of the top 10 fastest growing chambers in the U.S. and top 3 chambers in the nation in the largest chamber category by the American Chamber of Commerce. And whereas David became the undisputed leader of a Metro Atlanta-wide process to keep Dobbins Air Reserve Base from being closed via a BRAC action. Recognized as the best such effort in the state of Georgia, it included such actions as building the first ever public-private partnership military commissary known as Military Family Support Center, providing the Honorary Commanders Program and serving as the home of the Atlanta Regional Military Affairs Council. And whereas Connell earned 40 years of accredited private sector experience with the Southern companies, which included 4 years serving his country as a base civil engineer officer in the U.S. Air Force. He has served and chaired dozens of nonprofit boards and initiatives. And whereas he has received numerous awards from his civic involvement, including the Ernest Barrett Award, the Lynn Gilbert Award, the Mac Henderson Public Service Award. And in 2015, Connell was recognized by Dobbins Air Force Base, Air Reserve Base units with the Best of the Best Award, the only civilian to receive this designation. During 2017, he was presented 2 first-ever awards, the Cobb Public Safety Recognition and Appreciation Award and the Coalition of Business Associations Award. And whereas on December 31st, Connell will close his successful career with the Cobb Chamber of Commerce, having turned it into a customer-driven entity and led efforts to grow the economy and retain jobs here. Now, therefore, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby honor the leadership of David Connell, recognizing the essential work he did to maintain and improve our community as a way of life for all. This is the 12th day of December, 2007. And he's still a resident of District 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is for you.
Thank you.
You want to say anything?
Commission, it's been a great honor to work with you guys. The service that you provide to this county is incredible. as Chairman Boyce continues to tell folks, he's incredibly proud of the way y'all work together for the betterment of this community. It's been a pleasure getting to know each one of you, and I know each of you from different vantage points, and I love you all, and I wish you the best. I'm not going to die at December 31st, so you'll see me around. And I appreciate those of you in this room that have been a part of what we've tried to do in this community in partnership and hard work together. So thank you, Joanne.
Thank you.
Just want to say that sometimes words aren't enough to express your achievements, but you have the heart of Cobb County beating within you. And your legacy, as you drive around this county, you'll be able to see it in all that you've done. So we want to wish you Godspeed in all that you do, and know you always have a home back here with us anytime you want to come talk to us about something, but bring money.
I got one question for you. Is Pam ready for this? I hope she has a really long list, because I know with how hard you worked at the county, or for the Cobb Chamber and at Georgia Power, Pam better have a really long list. Thank you for all you do.
Good morning, David. Congratulations on this milestone to, I'm sure, going to be bigger and even more interesting roads to be traveled. Everyone associates the chamber with business. However, I'd like to recognize your work in making the chamber a more inclusive environment. And I have the pleasure of serving on the Diversity and Inclusion Committee with the head, Nelson Jeter, and it's heartwarming to see the chamber take that stance, because it's not necessarily directly related to the bottom line, but it is our bottom line to make sure that everybody's a part of our community. So I hope that work continues under your leadership, and it's just good to hear all of the other things that you've done for the chamber, but that's what I'm going to mostly remember you for. Thank you.
Well, we've been good friends for a long time, and I remember the night right before a city council meeting where I was trying to decide whether to resign and run for this post. I got a call from you, and you said, "Do it," and hung up. And some of the people out here like that decision, and some probably don't, but I certainly owe it to you that I'm here, that you encouraged me to do this, and hopefully I've made you proud. You've made this community proud, Cobb County proud, and I'm very proud to call you my dear friend.
Thank you. We two got to know each other when we were both in the private sector before your position and my current position. And you've always been a great friend, a great leader in our community, and a wonderful constituent, and I'm proud. I'll still be calling on you, don't worry.
No.
Next year. So you're not going into full retirement. I'll put you to work. But I really appreciate all that you do, and I think of all the things listed in the proclamation and in the book, of all your accomplishments, I think, I'm not sure about what you're the most proud of. All those awards, Ernest Barrett, Mac Henderson, I mean, those are pretty prestigious awards. But to me, the commitment and involvement with Dobbins and RMAC and our commissary, what you've done for our veterans and military makes me proud to know you, friend. Love you. Y'all want to say anything? All right. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, absolutely. For sure. Absolutely. Wish you forever with you. And we'll leave,
This is the affiliate certificate, and this is Barry and the Lions card. We're going to split them up. Is that all right? Okay. Now I have the honor with Commissioner Weatherford and Commissioner Cupid, and anyone else that wants to join us, of presenting awards to Keep Cobb Beautiful. As you know, a couple weeks ago, we went over to the Keep Georgia Beautiful Awards, and Keep Cobb Beautiful cleaned up. So I'd like to ask our board and staff from Keep Cobb Beautiful to come down. We have Erin Mulgrew here, who is the Woman of the Year and District 3 appointee. We have, is Barry here? Well, he's not here yet, but Barry Krebs is Commissioner Cupid's appointee, and he received the honors of Man of the Year. And Keep Cobb Beautiful got first place in the #1 affiliate award for the state, for our population. So these folks work tirelessly in cleaning up and beautifying our roadways and neighborhoods in Cobb, and we can't thank them enough, from our Adopt a Mile programs to our Bring One for the Chipper that's coming up, and all the good things that they do. So I'm going to ask Commissioner Weatherford to start with the affiliate award and read the certificate for that.
Thank you. This certificate of recognition is presented to Keep Cobb Beautiful. The Cobb County Board of Commissioners honors you for your dedication protecting our environment and helping promote stewardship of our community through litter prevention, beautification, recycling, and education. Keep Cobb Beautiful recently honored KCB with Keep Georgia Beautiful, with 6 awards, including a Waste Reduction and Recycling Award and first place recognition as an affiliate for the state of Georgia. Wow. Thank you to the KCB staff, board of directors, and volunteers for your faithful service to our community, and it's an honor to present this certificate of recognition to you. Say just a few words on it.
Hello, my name is Kimberly White. I'm the Executive Director for Keep Cobb Beautiful. And I just want to say thank you so much for recognizing us. And thank you to our board members and staff members. We work really hard to try to include everyone in the community to help us keep the community beautiful, and to prevent litter, and to educate everyone about recycling. And so we are really proud of the awards that we received, and we really thank everyone.
Thank you very much.
He's not coming. He can't make it. Okay. Go ahead and.
Okay, very good. This morning I have the opportunity to recognize 2 good and strong representatives from the District 4 of Cobb County. They were recognized for their efforts, and one includes Mr. Barry Krebs. If he was here today, this would have been his 3rd or 4th time up here receiving an award for his efforts to keep our district clean. Thank you, Commissioner. Our certificate today reads, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners honors you for your dedication to protecting our environment and helping promote stewardship of our community through litter prevention, beautification, recycling, and education. Serving as Commissioner Lisa Cupid's appointment to the KCB Board, you were recently honored as Keep Georgia Beautiful's Man of the Year. Your work with the South Cobb Lions Club and spearheading Adopt a Mile program efforts have helped enrich our county. Thank you for your commitment and faithful service to the community. He's also a member of South Cobb Lions, which has also been up here receiving an award in years past for their efforts in our community, and their certificate today reads, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners honors you for your dedication to protecting our environment and helping promote stewardship of our community through litter prevention, beautification, recycling, and education. Keep Georgia Beautiful recently honored your organization with a 2nd place award in the litter prevention category. South Cobb Lions Club's work with Adopt a Mile program and other initiatives have helped enrich our county. Thank you for your commitment and faithful service to the community.
Thank you. Let's give Barry a round of applause and the South Cobb Lions. Okay, well, a lot of you probably know, but this organization is very near and dear to my heart. Before I was a commissioner, I served on this very board for 10 years and chaired it for 2. And I've always been a friend of Keep Cobb Beautiful and an advocate for them, but it's my great honor to announce today and award Erin Mulgrew as the Woman of the Year for the state of Georgia. Keep Georgia Beautiful. When I asked Erin if she would be agreeable to me appointing her to the board, she stepped right up. And not only did she agree to serve on the board, but she got busy with the Bells Ferry Civic Association, which she's a board member as well. And they've adopted a mile on Bells Ferry Road and have worked tirelessly to beautify that area and keep it looking nice in the community. So today, I'd like to say thank you to Erin and the board and the staff for all that you do, and congratulations on being our Woman of the Year at Keep Georgia Beautiful.
I think we had one more award, and I was really confused about what it was. It was Waste Woman of the Year, Politician of the Year, elected official of the year. But I think somebody else here got something. Could you clarify what award was other than us given?
So it was hard to keep this secret for as long as we had to. But we did. We managed to pull it off into the day of the award ceremony. So our own Commissioner Joanne Burrow was awarded the Elected Official of the Year award. And I would say that they were correct in that because she is absolutely the best.
Let's give everybody a big round of applause, including our own commissioner. All right. All right. Come in the middle now. You're one of them. Get over there.
Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure now to introduce Kenny and Kristen. They're going to present the Customer Service Crew Award of the quarter. Little bit of background: in 1991, the county formed a Customer Service Council to basically make recommendations to the county manager and to the board about how to improve customer service to all of our customers. In addition to that training exercise, there was also an effort to make sure that we recognized employees that provided outstanding service on a daily basis. Later in the process, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, we thought that it would be a wise idea not only to recognize individuals that provide excellent customer service, but our crews that do so on a daily and weekly basis. And I can tell you, after this weekend, with what our crews did to make sure that we were safe and accessible and able to get around, I think that the board did a very, very good thing by recognizing the crews, because we had a lot of good work by crews this weekend. So with that being said, I'm going to ask Kenny and Kristen to recognize.
Thank you, Rob. Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, and special guests. On behalf of the Customer Service Council, it's my pleasure to present our 2017 Crew Award winner. This award is given each year to a team that exemplifies customer service excellence. Today, we will recognize a team of 9 people who were nominated by their supervisor for consistently going above and beyond when it comes to providing customer service excellence. Our 2017 Crew Award winner is the Department of Public Safety Supply Unit. This team, made up of Shannon Barnett, Shelley Bertzler, Nikki Brown, Christy Hartzell, Rachel Hubbard, Julie Ragsdale, Jeannie Rockovitz, Kevin Sullivan, and Mike Tumlin, ensures that all DPS employees are properly uniformed. They serve 9 departments, approximately 70 facilities, and more than 1,700 men and women. They are receiving this award because of their ability to continually provide customer service excellence with increased supply needs. The unit received several letters of recognition from DPS command staff, directors, and employees who work closely with them. One letter was submitted by Destiny Davidson, Director of Cobb's Emergency Communications. She said, "This unit has historically supported public safety with respect, dedication, and patience, but their efforts in 2017 were exemplary. Maintaining their traditional high level of customer service was significantly challenging this year following the increased hiring of police recruits and the proportional increase in uniforms and equipment needs. The DPS supply unit rose to the challenge and provided excellent customer service in the face of a significant workload increase and no increase to their staffing levels. Congratulations, and thanks for always putting your customers first, even in adverse situations." These are our Crew Award winners. Please give them another round of applause. You're going to have to get together.
There we go. Okay, some of you can go. Everyone get where you can see us. It's okay. Let's have a picture of it, okay? What's the tallest thing? I'm going to get it out. How about that? I don't think we got it. Stay good. Get where you can see us. Three, two, one. Well, what a great way to start the this morning meeting. Just some of the many incredible volunteers we have that keep this a 5-star county, along with the incredibly beyond words staff that we have here. And they certainly showed that this weekend when a 1-inch won't stick snowstorm turned into a 10-inch did stick snowstorm. So we appreciate all they've done for us, the whole team, but especially the supply crew. If you've ever gone to the warehouse and see all they have to do, you understand why they received the award today. All right, we're going to go on to tab 2 now. And we have a presentation, a public hearing. Dana, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Dan Johnson, Cobb County Community Development, here to present and request the board to conduct a public hearing before consideration of a Chattahoochee Corridor certificate to construct a single-family home at 3588 Cochise Drive. As a bit of background, in 1973, the Georgia General Assembly approved the Chattahoochee Corridor Act. This requires that all land disturbing activities within 2,000 feet of the Chattahoochee Corridor be reviewed by the Atlanta Regional Commission for compliance with the act. The Atlanta Regional Commission has reviewed this particular piece of property at 3588 Cochise Drive, as well as staff with stormwater management and community development, and all parties agree that this particular property is in compliance with the Chattahoochee Corridor. Therefore, we would ask, Mr. Chairman, if you would please open up the public hearing on this, and then after that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have about it, and then ask you to please vote on the issuance of these certificates.
Okay, before I open up this public hearing, I just want to remind everybody you have 3 minutes to speak. There's no limit on the number of speakers. And so at this time, I'll now open up this public hearing on the to approve the Chattahoochee Corridor Plan Certificate of Compliance for construction of a single-family residence at 3588 Cochise Drive. So would anybody like to make a comment on this issue? Okay, thank you. And please, when you come to the podium, let us know your name and where you live, please.
My name's John Hart. I live at 4411 Collins Drive. I'm the designer of the project and have coordinated with stormwater management and the ARC. So I'm here in support and available for any questions or comments.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else like to make a comment on this, at this hearing? Seeing none, I now call this public hearing to a close. And I think this is Commissioner Rotz.
It is. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'll just make a motion to approve the Chattahoochee Corridor Plan Certificate of Compliance for construction of the single-family residence at 3588 Cochise Drive.
We have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dana. Now we have public hearings. How many speakers today, Ms. Stantz?
You have 8. Would you like them to be consolidated?
Is that fine with everybody, the whole board? Do we just have all 8 speakers? Sure.
Okay, thank you. The first speaker is David Birkenbein, if you come forward.
I need to put some of these on.
Right.
Morning, Mr. Chairman.
Morning, David.
Board of Commissioners, County Manager. David Birkenbein, medical burn ban. I have the old original medical burn ban application that was used before I started griping, and they made a new one that put in stipulations that was just for outdoor burning. So when it goes to outdoor burning, when the people receive this application now, down at the bottom, approval requested valid for 1 year, and it does not apply to a burning of clean wood. There's no such thing as clean wood, and it only applies to yard debris. Well, back in July, the definition of yard debris was leaves, pine straw, twigs, limbs that fell from your tree. But the fire marshal said, in these chimneys, we can burn yard debris. How about this? How can this be that we can pick up sticks, twigs, and limbs in our yard and burn it when they're wet? We knock off the dirt. So, I guess it's supposed to be clean wood after it does that, even though it's been laying out there rotting for 6 months. Then we have another one in their quick reference on restricted burn areas. And what do we have in that little box right there? We say, even though you follow all the directions of outdoor burning, you may have to put the fire out. But we need to change that word from may to must. If it affects the quality of life, use of property, or someone adversely affected by smoke, which falls back on the application that, we just have to do something with this. I mean, it's just stated right there. But when I first started this fight, it was, well, I have to check with legal to see if we can legally put these fires out. When it's stated all through these quick reference guides and all through the law that the fire marshal could put out any fire in Cobb County. So, I mean, it's not a big legal challenge that, as far as I'm concerned, but the definitions are willy-nilly. We just pick what we want to do. We just pick what we want to accomplish. And this falls back on the interpretation. But now down here at the bottom where it says a homeowner, in that bottom box down there on the do's and the don'ts for the types of fire, a brush, if you have brush out there just piled up, oh my goodness, we can't set that on fire and call it a campfire because it's not. So we just kind of pick and choose what we get. And here's the definition of the small yard debris. The small yard debris or yard waste leaves, pine straw, dry brush, limbs, logs that have fallen or been cut from one's own property. This ain't dry, this ain't clean wood. It's yard debris. Clean wood is going to be your wood that's split, woods that's seasoned. People cannot burn in this county without a whole bunch of smoke, even in fire pits, chimneys, or in these fire pans, because of what they're burning. And the fire chief said when they was out on one call that somebody was burning garbage. Thank goodness that they caught it. They was out there. They was burning rugs in a chimney. So don't tell me these people don't burn in it. If the people in a medical burn ban are affected by the smoke, they know if they're affected. The firemen don't know they're affected. If it bothers them, put it out. You gave them the law where it says the fire chief can put out any fire he wishes, and the people have a 1,000-foot medical burn ban if they're adversely affected by smoke. And if they weren't adversely affected by smoke, then they wouldn't have a medical burn ban. But we have to get some consistency here and stop this interpretation law, and it's up to the board to do that. You have people that work for the county, you have people that work for me, work for you. Everybody works together, and we got to come to one consensus on what we're going to do on this medical burn ban. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
The next speaker is Larry Gore.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for hearing me. I would ask your patience as you have asked mine.
Yeah, please just let us know your name and where you live.
Larry Gore, 5186 Olive Branch Circle, Powder Springs, Georgia.
Okay, sir.
30127.
Thank you.
678-384-1777. You want my email? I'll give it to you. I think you've got it. I know Daniel's got it. Anyway, this is a follow-on to the 10/10/2017 grievance. And my follow-on question to grievance number 1 is the dam. And I just want to know why Cobb County did not enforce 2004 Z104 that required Covenant Place in Powder Springs as part of the subdivision development to be provided a Category 1 dam. This is for Lee McLeod. I'm not sure you know our board of directors approved a fence across the West Bank restricting access to all but West Bank owners. And today, 2 homeowners have personal property stored in the stream buffer and the open space. Both are HOA covenant violations. I've been advised by Cobb enforcement that code enforcement will not enforce open space code. My understanding is that the Greenbelt easement around Covenant Lake has been deeded to Cobb County through perpetuity. And when authority and responsibility overlay, the most restrictive will control. The HOA can fine and place liens. The county can issue citations and in 10 days lock you up. It seems plain to me the county must oversee the easement and require the HOA to be responsible in accordance with our covenants and bylaws and county code. May I have a copy of Cobb County Plan for Covenant Place Development? Has anyone in our HOA received from Cobb County a copy of the approved plan for Covenant Place? If yes, who and when? Thank you. Who gets this?
Thank you, sir.
The next speaker is Bill Clements.
Excuse me, sir. Dana, are you here? Okay, is anybody from community development here? Yeah, could you work with Mr. Gore on his questions, please? Thank you. Morning, Bill.
Almost collected here. Hey, where did I take this parking to get validated? Mr. Hozak?
Yeah, right, yeah.
I'll give that to my friend Ho-Ho.
Yeah, I got $2 for you, Larry.
Okay, well, I'm getting up here. Merry Christmas to all. I wore my red shirt, and lo and behold, all my red shirt clerks have A's on them. I don't understand that, but they do. But
I thought you
also,
were-
I'm here to talk about dancing, so I brought my dancing shoes. And you might notice they're red and white also.
Bill, you might want to let everybody know who you are and where you live.
Oh, yeah. My name is Bill Clements. I live in 1730 Rose Hedge Way in unincorporated West Cobb County. I've been a resident of Cobb for about 40 years. And I'm here to, that's a good, and you got all my contact information. It's nice seeing all you people. I hadn't been here in a long time. Ho-Ho over there, Zach. I remember him when he was waiting for his first child to be born. But anyway, the reason I brought my dance shoes, I'm the past president of the Stardust Dance Club. I'll talk to y'all, not them. But I just make sure I'm up there. But we're a senior dance club, and we've been dancing for 12 years at the West Cobb Senior Center. Prior to that, we danced at the Freeman Pools Senior Center down the south side. There's another dance club that I danced with, but never been an officer for, and that's called the Foxtrotters. They currently dance at the East Cobb Senior Center. And they've been there more than 20 years, so 2 decades. And let me tell you what I want first. You know who I am. You know I'm about dancing. Hopefully these shoes will keep that on focus. In the last meeting, less than a month ago, on the 14th of November, you passed a new fee schedule, and it hit us right upside the head. And I'm here to, and this is my motion request, and I'd like for y'all to have a motion. I know we're not going to have dialogue, so I'll stay here the whole day to hear it. I'd like to have a motion to reconsider the vote approving those fees for the current budget cycle, whatever that happens to encompass. That the reason, and that requires, per Robert's Rules of Order, that I'm old enough to know Mr. Roberts, but you got to have a vote for a motion, a vote to reconsider, to suspend it. And what I'm asking you to do is suspend it and give us a time to react to it. We need time to refocus how we do business of dancing and how we fund ourselves. We're self-sufficient. Now I'll tell you about the dance club. We're all seniors. We comply completely with the rules and regulations of the senior centers. No smoking, no alcohol. This is homebrew iced tea, by the way. That's allowed. And we are ballroom dancers. And we dance once a month on a Friday at night. Therefore, we rent the facility. And I worked out with Miss Pam Breeden years ago, and John Green, if y'all remember those names. I know Hozak does. That's yesteryear stuff. But we worked out where we pay $120 per dance to rent the facility. And we use the ballroom. Now, we worked with Mr. Byrne when they were building these facilities, and that dance floor was perfect for us. If you don't, I know some people in here can dance, but ballroom dancing is like country and western, but you go counterclockwise, floor of dance, all the way around the floor. The people who are more neophyte in dancing, they dance in the center until they learn to do all these dances, the waltz, the foxtrot. We do some line dances. Now, who are we? We're all seniors. Most of us live in Cobb County. 80% have to. We charge $7 at the door per dance for our membership. We also ask some of them to give us $30 per year in January so we can have a little reserve because we have to contract for bands. So I mentioned bands. We use 4 different live bands. They play ballroom dance music. And you've heard it if you've ever watched Lawrence Welk or LaBart, some of those types of people. That's the music Glenn Miller we dance to. We do the waltz, the foxtrot, samba, rumba, bolero, all kinds of stuff. And we also do a few line dances. We do some mixers. The composition of our group, not only, tell me when I got a minute to go there, Judge. Oh, really? I hadn't gotten to my first page. Daggum. But anyway, we want you to make that motion for reconsideration so we can sit down with your staff. I met with a lovely meeting yesterday for 2 hours with Jessica and JJ to try to understand the logic of their specific. But the net is our fees went from $120 to $510 per dance. That's a whopper. And it's got meat in it. We can't afford that. Our membership can't afford it. It's a bit steep. And we'd like to work with you. We can modify our behavior, how long we need to center. We can't dance all night long, folks. Matter of fact, we only dance 2 minutes at a time. We don't do 8-minute dances. And we do mixers. So we have a lot of singles. We have people that live in assisted living facilities, senior centers. We got people like me who live in a family development. We have widows, and we mix. You ever heard of whistle dancers? Well, you dance, and then when you blow the whistle, you change partners.
Okay, Bill. Sadly, your time is up, but here's what you know, as you well know. We're not going to implement the fees until we've had a chance to come back to the seniors and explain to them why we did it. In January, I'm going to all the senior centers and having town halls to explain the fee structure. This added time allows what you want to do, which is have the opportunity for the seniors to come back to the board members and explain your concerns. We hear you, and we heard you over the last month that this was not properly advertised, all right? And I accept that as a valid comment. So which is why we're waiting to implement the fees for the seniors. And we're also, as I tell people, if we can't defend what we're doing, we shouldn't be doing it. I'll be coming out in January to all the town senior centers, give you the opportunity for me to explain what we're doing, but also to hear back from you to see if we can find some middle ground on this. So,
May I respond, Chairman?
10 seconds.
The time is of the essence with us.
Right.
We're right in the midst of electing new officers.
Right.
Membership, collecting the $30, and contracting with bands for the full
Okay.
year. We use 4 different bands, we rotate, and we book them, and that's the reason we need some quick action. And
Okay.
I appreciate what you just said, and I stand available whenever you are,
You bet.
and as long as they're not playing.
Good luck. Good luck in, where are you guys playing at?
Sugar Bowl
Sugar Bowl. Okay, all right. Just curious.
at the French Quarters. Been there before.
I didn't mean to insult Commissioner Weatherford here with my question. Thank you, Bill. Always a pleasure.
The next speaker is Terry Stewart. Terry Stewart. The next speaker is Susan Brooke. Okay, the next speaker is Jim McCutcheon.
That's a tough act to follow. So not sure I can do that. I have no dancing shoes here with me today. My name is Jim McCutcheon. I live at 20 Concord Road, Southwest. My wife and I own the historic Rock House and have spent the last 12 years and several hundreds of thousands of dollars renovating that space. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to speak this morning. We have a little bit of a double duty. We're so very, very thankful for the work that you guys have allowed to happen at the covered bridge. It's absolutely spectacular. James Hudgens and Bill Shelton and many, many others have done a remarkable job down there. So very pleased with what's happening. Looking forward to it being back open again this weekend. So we're very thankful for that. We've fought for the area for many, many years, and we are currently in a battle to try to stop not a new home to be built, but to try to stop a modern home being built in the district. Last night we had the hearing before the Historic Preservation Commission. We lost that hearing last night. My request to you today is simply that by the law, we have 15 days to file that appeal. We plan to file that appeal and on several grounds. And what I want to make certain of is that the homeowner during that period of time, during that 15 days, cannot file and go get his building permit, which I know he is very, very eager to do. So I wanted to go on the record with the fact that we plan to file that appeal and make certain that that cannot happen prior to that. Thank you.
The next speaker is Monica Delancey.
Monica, hold 1 second, please.
Mr. McCutcheon, I just wanted to respond to your inquiry and wanted to give you that assurance that we're aware that that could take place and that we'll be watching for that to make sure that that doesn't occur before that period.
I apologize, Monica. Thank you for your
That's
patience.
fine. Good morning. My name is Monica Delancey. I live in the Riverside community in Austell, Georgia, and I'm here representing the We Thrive and Riverside Rentals Association. Metro Atlanta is ranked third in the nation for evictions. Cobb County is seeing an uptick in evictions as well. On Tuesdays and Fridays, when the Cobb County Magistrate Court holds eviction court. They hold it at 9 o'clock in the morning and at 1 p.m. on Tuesdays and Fridays. And it's been seen at least 100 people during those court times, mostly people from the South Cobb area, mostly women and African American women. The average amount for a two-bedroom apartment is $700 to $900 a month. There's a shift of households being maintained with the person that's the primary breadwinner of the household being women. And most of those women are earning an entry-level, support-level salary of $12 an hour. It is recommended that to be able to afford a two-bedroom apartment, a person must make at least $20 an hour. Only 1 in 4 persons receives any type of rental assistance. It is not an entitlement program. So therefore, if a person is not able to get rental assistance on a consistent basis and they lose their job, they're not able to recover that lost income in an amount of time. So basically, if a person served an eviction warrant in Cobb County, they're going to be evicted within 6 weeks. Transit communities are communities where people are not able to afford rent. And even corporate landlords are taking advantage of the situation. The amount of rent a person paying $900 a month, receiving basic amenities such as having a wash and dryer connections, a swimming pool, right? But then there's some substandard apartments that's not even offering those amenities, and they're still charging $900 a month because they know people have to have a place to live. All right. In the South Cobb community, where our high schools, South Cobb, Osborne, Pebblebrook, are receiving low performance ratings. Basically, parents are not able to show up to the schools or take part in meetings if they're spending most of their time working trying to pay rent. They're not showing up to vote when there's election time because they're either in eviction court or they're in defects trying to get some assistance to be able to support their families. Even when there are programs and initiatives that's introduced from nonprofits, if a family or household is not stabilized, they cannot even appreciate those programs and initiatives that's introduced. So I stand here today to say all that because I know that Cobb County has to abide by the law. You have to follow the procedures and policies. But have some compassion for the holidays. Please do not do forcible evictions. And a forcible eviction is when the sheriff shows up to the house with a moving crew and places people's personal belongings on the curb. And it's unfortunate that we even have to do evictions any time of the year, but especially during the holidays. It's a very traumatizing to our families and our households. So that's what I want to also say. And then to let you know that We Thrive in Riverside Rental Association is hosting Neighborhood Appreciation Week this week to be able to visit with different apartment communities. Today we have Reach a Seed at one of our daycare centers. Tomorrow we'll be doing a tour, catching the bus on the number 30 and riding to Marietta. We have community cleanup on Friday, and it'll culminate on Saturday with a luncheon. And at this neighborhood summit, Mr. Murphy, Michael Murphy, will be speaking. Commissioner Cupid agreed to be there as well. We have Habitat for Humanity that will be there, and also Atlanta Regional Commission and Kennesaw State University. The luncheon is $15 donation. The neighbor leaders that live in the area have agreed to attend. If you're not able to attend, if you can donate your ticket for a neighborhood leader to attend, that would be very well appreciated. Again, thank you for this time and your opportunity to speak.
And Monica, I'm sure you know about the eviction clinic presented by the Legal Aid of Cobb County. Have we been able to advertise that through your mediums?
Right, that is very appreciated. We talked about eviction clinic. Like I said, it's the working poor that's being evicted.
Sure.
So we have people that's working. It used to be a time when people that wasn't working, but people that's working, that's living in their cars. And also the eviction clinic does help, but the end result is the person's going to have to move. And that's what's really traumatizing.
Well, the good news is at least they get some degree of legal advice during these things.
That
So
does
I realize that we can, it'd be nice to do more, but every little bit helps.
That does help.
And
Thank you.
especially your voice, and I'm sure it's being heard. And I said yesterday, when I was speaking to the delegation, affordable housing is one of the issues we have in this county. So collectively, we'll eventually find a way to make this a better lot for many of our people.
Okay, thank
So
you for your
thank you,
time.
Monica.
Thank you.
The final speaker is Guinevere Reed.
Greetings. It's a pleasure once again to exercise my constitutional right to free speech. Thank you, Commissioners, citizens of Cobb County. My name is Guinevere Reed. I've been a resident of Powder Springs for 17 years. And as a resident, can we place this on it, please? Thank you. I'd like to once again reiterate, as since August 2017, I have been here publicly asking for a hearing from the commissioners as well as the parties involved. Lisa Cupid, who's vice chair, and also Mike Boyce, to investigate the allocations of the CDBG funding process and review panel. It has come to my attention that the CDBG grant funding and community foundation grants will be awarded to the same status quo organizations again. I and several community advocates, leaders, and nonprofits are perturbed by the CDBG grant processes and allocations of these grants. There seems to be a need for investigation as to why the CDBG continues to award these grants to the status quo organizations that should be sustainable, thriving, and maintaining their programs to other funding sources, private, corporate, fundraising, state, and federal agencies, especially since several of these status quo organizations have been in business for 10, 20, 30 years. Why are they always receiving the CDBG grants every funding cycle? In this prejudicial preference, is this prejudicial, I'm sorry. Is this prejudice, preferences, implicit biases, political favoritism, or microaggressive behavior to fund mostly white status quo nonprofits, such as the Cobb Collaborative, Cobb Family Resources, Salvation Army, Must Ministry? Why doesn't CDBG office make a concerted effort to award minority grassroots organizations unless they're umbrellaed by the status quo organizations? There is a need for the development of basic manuals of do's and don'ts for grassroots and nonprofit organizations. And in my opinion, there's a vital need for a small handbook, webinar, or CDBG information meeting that's supposed to provide technical assistance, be free of charge. Also, in addition, there should be 2 CDBG funding sources, one for the status quo organizations, which are usually white and have been receiving and have been in existence for years, and another one for upcoming, fledgling, emerging community group, grassroots organization, nonprofits, with free work in progress workshops that give technical assistance. The Cobb Collaborative has gone through the motion pretending to serve minority grassroots organizations and their communities. However, it seems that these groups, status quo organizations, continue to receive the funding allocated through federal and local government funding sources, but it's at their discretion who do they umbrella and who do they fund. We are the concerned grassroots nonprofit leaders and organizations and can't seem to catch a break. We need to break through the boundaries, limits, and political will that stifles us to receive the CDBG funding to become community collaborators and developers. CDBG funding, in conclusion, we need to know who the review panel is, and it needs to be open and transparent in the funding process and not serve at the pleasure of nefarious individuals that are members of the CDBG. We believe the grant has been blocked to grassroots organizations, unfair, inequitable, and has great disparity that affects our communities. Those that are the most vulnerable, especially in Commissioner Cupid's area, in the South Cobb area, Mableton, also Powder Spring, and parts of Mableton. Our community are the most impoverished, the most vulnerable and disenfranchised, marginalized and polarized. We believe that this is deliberately done to engineer to set up our communities for gentrification. by redlining and depriving resources from the South Cobb area, lack of transportation, and the lack of political will to do community development in our communities have created a perception that there are two realities in Cobb County, a cognitive dissonance of the have and the have-nots. However, it seems that the money is raining in Cobb County for construction and other development in other areas of Cobb County, like East Cobb. Isn't it interesting that Cobb County found funding for the stadium and all the development around it, but can't seem to reinvest in the South Cobb communities? Where are the workforce jobs, training, and priorities to serve all the communities of Cobb County, and not just the affluent and those that have connections on the commissioner board? We who have been 20 years invested in giving back, and we are professional volunteers in our ghettoized, marginalized,
Ms.
polarized
Delancey.
communities.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Oh, speak. I think Ms. Howard.
And my name's Helen Riley. I live in Marietta.
I'm sorry, you have to have signed up on the list.
Oh, I was just going to piggyback on what she had just said.
I'm sorry, the timeline,
No.
yeah, sorry
Oh,
about
okay.
that.
You thought you did it last time?
On to tab 4, which is the consent agenda. And I just want to remind everyone that might have the old agenda book, we pulled tab 20 yesterday from the consent agenda item. And then, of course, earlier this morning, we added a consent agenda to, an item to the consent agenda. So that, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as revised and authorize the execution of necessary documents by the appropriate county personnel. Second. We have a second. In discussion? Sorry. Go ahead. You can discuss it. I was open for discussion.
I'm fine with it the way it is. I'm saying yesterday there was discussion, and Lisa, do you want to comment on number 17?
So the,
Yeah, why don't we pull it for discussion? If you'd like to discuss it?
Yeah,
Commissioner?
we can discuss it now. I mean, we're in the discussion period on the consent agenda. So you have an issue with the rotation on the,
I don't. Someone else does.
well, then I would have to let them speak for themselves.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
That's why I'm asking. It was, the way it reads on consent is approving, reinstating the audit committee with this rotation. And there was discussion yesterday, as
Correct.
Lisa ran the meeting, as you well know, that
and
we
the only,
had discussion on it, and we said would discuss it today. So I'm just pulling it out there.
okay, well, Commissioner Weatherford has offered, has agreed.
Let's do the discussion and let him speak.
We are doing discussion, all right? So the only change is that Commissioner Weatherford has agreed to let Commissioner Rod serve in his rotation for the compensation committee, all right? And that was a discussion between Commissioner Rod, Weatherford, and me.
Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can I make a suggestion,
Sure,
Chairman?
sure.
May we approve the consent agenda except for this item and then pull this for discussion?
For the gentleman, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
We can-
Okay.
Yeah, we can just make it on the regular, add it to the regular agenda.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, so we'll pull 17 and 20, all right?
20 is already
The
pulled.
20's been pulled, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And we're gonna add the executive session decision yesterday for the litigation.
Yes, sir.
And so we'll discuss item 17 on a regular item after consent agenda. Okay? Does that work for everybody?
Yes, sir.
So, is that, understand that? Okay, so any further discussion?
Second the revised motion.
We have a revision to the revision.
Correct.
All right, we have a second. Any discussion on that? Call the question. It passes 5-0. Okay. Now, we can talk about item number 17. And the issue there is on the rotation schedule. So those who have an issue with the rotation schedule, now's your chance to make make your statements. Yeah. I'll give it back to you.
I believe in our discussions yesterday in agenda prep, we discussed the possibility that District 2 was going to be 5 years each from this rotation schedule. And I think that occurred because I served twice on the audit committee, and that got things somewhat out of rotation. Commissioner Odd, I'll let him speak for himself, had some issues with that, and I have no problem with the chairman's suggestion to allow him to take my spot on the compensation committee next year, if that would get things back in rotation. So whatever.
I don't know why it was brought up. The issue was resolved between the people involved yesterday.
Okay. So the only change to the rotation schedule is going to be is that Commissioner Odd is going to take Commissioner Weatherford's plate on the compensation committee. The audit committee stands.
Okay, because that wasn't.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, I don't mind, yes.
yesterday.
So, yes, I'm looking at the schedule right now.
Right.
So we're saying for year 2018, that
Right.
aunt would serve that year. The issue was there being a 5-year gap between commissioners.
Right.
So I guess I'm not understanding how that is modified by this change.
Commissioner Cupid, in talking to Latona, there is no way to resolve that.
Okay,
Because no matter what you do, because of the double year, Latona and I looked at it, and you can't resolve it.
okay,
So it has to stay the way it is.
okay. And so what I'm hearing is what's being proposed today will result in you serving in 2018 on the compensation committee. I don't have any issue with
Right.
that, but it looks as if Commissioner Weatherford, you would not have the opportunity to serve on that.
Unless
if it's
we
dissolved.
renew the committee,
Okay.
which we may do
Which
with
is
board
likely.
action.
Oh, okay.
And, I have no problem with that. So,
Okay.
I mean, either way, whatever board decides.
Okay.
Okay, then there's also another question.
Sure.
Because I believe that the rotation was done in such a manner where it complemented the audit committee schedule so that people weren't necessarily having to serve on both of them. So if the two commissioners can just monitor your schedule, so I guess it doesn't throw off the other
Right,
schedule. I
exactly.
don't have any issue.
Yeah, it's one of those things where partly is it because I didn't change commissioners yet. When I first took office in January, I was striving for continuity among the board. So I'm partly responsible for that too. And so now, 12 months later, we're trying to adjust that, but the commissioners involved are fine to make the adjustments. And if that's all right with the rest of the board. Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. Yesterday, there was additional discussion, and just for the record, I just want to point out that, first of all, we're all on a 5-year rotation, not just for next year. We have all served, with the exception of Commissioner Weatherford, and he had 2 years in a row, and I think that's what threw everything off. Also, yesterday, I just want to clarify for the record with the county attorney that there's nothing inappropriate or unethical or illegal or a conflict for serving when in an election year on either of these committees or any of our liaison commissioner duties, airport advisory board, or any of the boards that we serve as a sitting commissioner.
That's correct. And if an individual were to have a conflict of interest, it would be incumbent upon them to advise the board.
Sure. Right.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, I make a motion to accept the new rotation cycle as revised. Have a second? Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. Thank you very much. I appreciate you working with me to get that behind us. All right. Maybe we should take a break since Jim Wilgus is coming with his 35 projects.
14.
Oh, only
14.
14. Holy cow. It's a Christmas gift
Oh,
from
they're pretty
transportation. All right, Jim, it's all yours.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. County Manager.
Excuse me, Jim. I really love your tie. Let's get a
thank
close-up
you.
on this tie.
I try to do Christmassy.
We need a close-up on this tie. There you go.
There you
That's beautiful. Do those doors open?
No.
All right, thanks a lot, Jim. I'm sorry.
All right.
It's really a
Sorry,
great looking
as
tie.
we discussed, we have 14 items from DOT this meeting. The first item is to approve a contract with C.W. Matthews Contracting Company, Inc. for roadway improvements on Sandy Plains Road. Sandy Plains Road from East Piedmont to Ebenezer Road is an approved project, and the roadway safety and operational improvements component of the 2011 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. Sorry. The low bid of $4,407,292.12 from C.W. Matthews Contracting Company, Inc. was reviewed and found to be reasonable and responsive. Bid tabulation consisted of $4,053,967.12 in roadway cost and $353,325 in water system cost. The completion date for this project is 365 consecutive calendar days from the issuance of notice to proceed. We request the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with C.W. Matthews Contracting Company, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $4,407,292.12 for roadway improvements on Sandy Plains Road.
Commissioner Burrow.
Thank you. Jim,
Yes, ma'am.
in the description, it says raised concrete medians. Will there be any grass?
There should be, yes, ma'am.
And what is on the SPLOST list for this project, the amount? Are we under the $4,407,000?
Yes, ma'am, we are. We should be in good shape on this.
Okay. Would this be the time to consider the synthetic turf that we're looking at instead of grass?
We certainly could.
Since it's a new project that hasn't
We certainly
started
could.
yet and there are SPLOST funds available?
Sure.
Yeah, we certainly could.
Yeah. I think you could work with the commissioner on that. I mean, with the Mr.
I mean,
Wilgus
I'd
on that.
rather see the concrete or raised or the pavers, but I know that's a lot more expensive.
But we can certainly look at it when it comes to that kind of, that time of the project.
Okay. As long as we're within the amount designated on SPLOST.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion to approve.
We have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. And it passes when Commissioner Weatherford.
I hit it.
5-0.
Thank you, sir. Item number 2 is to approve a contract with Baldwin Paving Company, Inc. for bridge replacement on Brookwood Drive over Clay Branch. Brookwood Drive over Clay Branch is an approved bridge replacement project in the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. The low bid of $820,230.49 from Baldwin Paving Company, Inc. was reviewed and found to be reasonable and responsive. Bid tabulation consisted of $741,100.49 in roadway cost and $79,130 in water system cost. The completion of this project is 120 consecutive calendar days from the issuance of the notice to proceed. We request the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with Baldwin Paving Company, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $820,230.49 for bridge replacement on Brookwood Drive over Clay Branch.
Commissioner Cupid.
So moved.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Item number 3 is to approve change order number 1 final with a contract with Glosson Enterprises LLC for intersection improvements of Barrett Parkway at Chastain Meadows Parkway. Barrett Parkway at Chastain Meadows Parkway is an approved project in the intersection improvements component of the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. Construction of the project is complete, and change order number 1 final to the contract with Glosson Enterprises LLC, a savings to the project in the amount of $3,971.75 is requested due to variations between the original and final plan quantities. We request the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to the contract with Glosson Enterprises LLC, a savings to the project in the amount of $3,971.75 for intersection improvements of Barrett Parkway at Chastain Meadows Parkway.
Commissioner Burrow.
Thank you. Always great to see a savings. Motion to approve. Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Item number 4 is to approve change order number 2 to the resurfacing contract 2016-1 countywide major thoroughfares local maintenance and improvement grant with Baldwin Paving Company, Inc. for additional resurfacing of county-maintained streets. Resurfacing is an approved component in the 2011 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. The original estimated cost for the resurfacing of Sandy Plains Road from Ebenezer to Shallowford Road was $781,935.91. As a result of unforeseen field conditions, the actual quantities required to complete the milling and resurfacing exceeded those quantities approved in change order number 1. Therefore, change order number 2 is now requested in the amount not to exceed $375,010.86 for quantity overruns incurred during the resurfacing of the segment of Sandy Plains Road. We request the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 2 to the resurfacing contract 2016-1 countywide major thoroughfares local maintenance and improvement grant with Baldwin Paving Company, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $375,010.86 for additional resurfacing of a segment of Sandy Plains Road.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
We have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item number 5 is to approve change order number 2 final to the resurfacing contract 2016-3 local roads north with C.W. Matthews Contracting Company, Inc. for the resurfacing of county-maintained streets. Resurfacing is an approved component in the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. Resurfacing has been completed in change order number 2 final to the resurfacing contract 2016-3 with C.W. Matthews. The savings to the project in the amount of $133,973.20 is requested due to variations between the original and final plan quantities. Project savings will be retained in the resurfacing component of the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. We request the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 2 final to the resurfacing contract 2016-3 local roads north with C.W. Matthews Contracting Company, Inc., a savings to the project in the amount of $133,973.20 for the resurfacing of county-maintained streets.
Commissioner Weatherford.
A motion to approve is presented, sir.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item number 6 is to approve project number X 2120-TO number 01 to the 2016 Master Task Order contract with Long Engineering, Inc. for engineering design of Woodland Brook Drive over Gilmore Creek. Woodland Brook Drive over Gilmore Creek, previously identified as Vinings Branch, is an approved project in the Bridges and Culverts component of the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. We request the Board of Commissioners approve project number X 2120-TO number 01 to the 2016 Master Task Order contract with Long Engineering, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $157,358 for engineering design of Woodland Brook Drive over Gilmore Creek.
Commissioner Ott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jim, I know that this is for the design only, but I know your folks have accounted for the heavy traffic load on Woodland Brook. Is this
Yes.
going to be done in the summer?
Should be, yes.
Okay, and about how long is the bridge going to take once it starts being built?
We typically try to do those in approximately 3 months.
Okay, well, let's, as we move forward with that, when we get past the design phase, let's make sure that we give plenty of notice to the folks in there because
Absolutely.
it's going to have a big impact. Motion to approve.
Okay. You have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item number 7 is to approve project number X 2727-TO number 02 to the Master Task Order contract with Long Engineering, Inc. for engineering design of Chimney Springs Drive sidewalk. Sidewalks is an approved component in the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. We request the Board of Commissioners approve project number X 2727-TO number 02 to the 2016 Master Task Order contract with Long Engineering, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $101,123 for engineering design of Chimney Springs Drive sidewalk.
Commissioner Ott.
Motion to approve.
You have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Item number 8 is to approve project number X 2306-TO number 02 to the 2016 Master Task Order contract with AECom Technical Services, Inc. for engineering design of intersection improvements on Factory Shoals Road at Riverside Parkway. Factory Shoals Road at Riverside Parkway, previously known as Six Flags Drive, is an approved project in the intersection improvements component of the 2016 SPOS Transportation Improvement Program. We request the Board of Commissioners approve project number X 2306-TO number 02 to the 2016 Master Task Order Contract with AECom Technical Services in an amount not to exceed $82,840 for engineering design of intersection improvements on Factory Shoals Road at Riverside Parkway, previously known as Six Flags Drive.
Commissioner Cupid.
Yes, yesterday I asked to see the design as it moves forward, but what I'd like to do is open it up so there's a community meeting to vet the intersection improvements here, because there's unique considerations on both sides of Factory Shoals. One side has residential traffic. They're trying to primarily move towards Thornton Road, towards Blair's Bridge, or towards the interstate. Coming from the opposite direction, though, you have industrial traffic that's coming up the other way, and I just don't know how this project tries to address both of those needs. So I would like your help in us holding a public meeting as this moves forward.
Certainly. Once we've got our traffic data in and our concepts put together, we'll certainly be willing to do that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jim. So moved.
Second. We have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. It passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item number 9 is to approve consultant services agreement with American Engineers, Inc. for engineering design of roadway improvements on McDobbs Road. McDobbs Road is an approved roadway safety and operational improvements project in the 2016 SPLOS Transportation Improvement Program. This is a joint project with the City of Kennesaw. The department has negotiated a final scope of services and fee with American Engineers, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $357,489.53 for engineering design of McDobbs Road improvements. We request the Board of Commissioners approve a consultant services agreement with American Engineers, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $357,489.53 for the engineering design of roadway improvements on McDobbs Road.
Commissioner Weatherford.
Thank you. And Jim, just briefly could tell what this entails, what we're planning on doing there. I know it says here that
There's turn lanes, there's sidewalks, there's a variety of improvements that we agreed with the City of Kennesaw needs to be made along the
and
roadway.
curb and gutter, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
good. Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
You have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item number 10 is to approve a consultant services agreement with Calix Engineers and Consultants for engineering design of roadway improvements on Old 41 Highway. Old 41 Highway is an approved roadway safety and operational improvements project in the 2016 SPLOS Transportation Improvement Program. The department has negotiated a final scope of services and fee with Calix Engineers and Consultants in the amount not to exceed $182,644 for engineering design of Old 41 Highway. We request the Board of Commissioners approve a consultant services agreement with Calix Engineers and Consultants in an amount not to exceed $182,644 for engineering design of roadway improvements on Old 41 Highway.
Commissioner Burrow, would you like to make the motion, please?
Sorry, motion to approve.
We have a second?
Weatherford.
Second.
There you go. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Item number 11 is to approve a consultant services agreement with Barge, Wagner, Sumner, and Cannon, Inc. for engineering design of John Ward Road sidewalk. Sidewalks is an approved component in the 2016 SPLOS Transportation Improvement Program. The department has negotiated a final scope of services and fee with Barge, Wagner, Sumner, and Cannon, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $395,962.84 for engineering design of John Ward Road sidewalk. We request the Board of Commissioners approve a consultant services agreement with Barge, Wagner, Sumner, and Cannon, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $395,962.84 for engineering design of John Ward Road sidewalk.
Commissioner Rutherford.
Thank you. And one quick question. This ties in, if you help me out, where the roundabout will be by the school, or is it further down? I think it is.
Yes, no, it does.
Say again?
It does tie in with the new roundabout.
So we're obviously going to coordinate those two activities.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, motion to approve as presented.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Item number 12 has been revised and is before you in a revised form.
Right.
This item is to amend action previously adopted regarding the October 10th, 2017 approval of work authorization 2 to the consolidated contract with Atkins North America, Inc. to approve change order number 1 to work authorization number 1 and to the consolidated contract with Atkins North America, Inc. and to approve amendment work authorization 2 to the consolidated contract with Atkins North America, Inc. for program management services for the 2005, 2011, and 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Programs.
Commissioner Ott.
Thank you,
wait,
Mr.
wait.
Chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
You want me to go on, or?
Yeah.
It's a long motion.
I never argue with a man with a better-looking tie.
Okay. Work authorization 1 is previously approved by the board through December 31st, 2017, is nearing completion. It is currently estimated that work authorization 1 will be completed with a realized savings. Therefore, the department suggests request approval of change order number 1 in the deductive amount not to exceed $1,400,664.80. The department recommends the board approve amendment work authorization 2 to the consolidated contract with Atkins North American in an amount not to exceed $19,954,000. Work authorization 2 to the consolidated contract with Atkins North America has been reviewed by the county attorney's office. We request the Board of Commissioners amend action previously adopted regarding the October 10, 2017 approval of work authorization 2 to the consolidated contract with Atkins North America, Inc., approve change order number 1, an estimated savings to the consolidated contract with Atkins North America, Inc., and an estimated amount not to exceed $1,400,664.80, approve amendment work authorization 2 to the consolidated contract with Atkins North America, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $21,354,664.80, resulting in a total net amount not to exceed $19,954,000 as previously approved for program management services to the program management assistance, pre-construction services, right-of-way services, and complete construction management services for the 2005, 2011, 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program for a 2-year period of January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2019. That's it.
Now, what he said was.
Yes, thank you.
What he said was that actually the agenda item that was approved in October, the dollar amount has not changed.
That's correct.
All we did yesterday was kind of show that what happened was the first work authorization had $1.4 million approximately left over. And so as we've done in the past, we made an agenda item that showed that we had a savings of $1.4 million that was being applied to the $21 million for work authorization number 2. So the agenda item in October had already accounted for that 1.4 million, so it was listed as 19.5 million. And so today we're just showing you what really happened in October, right? So the bottom line is it's not a change in funding, it's just a kind of to clarify more what happened. So a motion to approve.
Second? Have a second? Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Item number 13 is to authorize payment of an administrative fee to the Norfolk Southern Railway for review of proposed quiet zone at Nickajack Road. The railroad crossing along Nickajack Road, located at milepost number 140.5H, is being proposed as a quiet zone. This is an approved project in the intersection improvements component of the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvements Program. The proposed quiet zone is also a joint project with the city of Smyrna. We request the Board of Commissioners authorize payment of an administrative fee to Norfolk Southern Railway in the amount not to exceed $5,400 for review of a proposed quiet zone at Nickajack Road.
Commissioner Cupid.
Yes, this is a welcome agenda item for the residents of this area. I do want to share with the residents that did propose us looking at the quiet zone in the Mableton area near the old Barnes hardware store that this item doesn't supersede that item. We actually were able to address that without having financial impact, I believe, which is how we're able.
So far.
So far.
So far.
Okay, so with that statement, if this moves forward, how would that impact that other project?
That other crossing may be closed.
May be closed
That's one of the
without-
options we're looking at.
Okay, and we're waiting to hear back.
That's correct. We'll work with Norfolk Southern with this one, and this one may end up bleeding over into that project.
Okay, so they're both kind of running simultaneously. I just didn't want residents to think that that project has been forgotten. That's where our initial focus was, because that's where this request emanated from, those residents in that area. But with this other crossing that we do have, these funds do enable us to also consider this area too for a silent crossing. And it does help with the financial impact that Smyrna is a partner. So with that, a motion to approve.
You have a second?
Second, and I have a quick question.
Yes.
My experience working with them from further northwest is that they typically want something to do this other than money, and they may want to close some crossings.
That's correct.
'Cause
And a
they're
lot of
always
times,
looking
and
to
this
close
really
those.
starts our negotiation with Norfolk Southern to determine.
Well, just be aware that if that's not what the community wants, you need to make sure and stand firm, because they typically try to close as many as they can when you give them something or ask for something, they want something.
Thank you.
So,
We'll make sure that we talk prior to this moving forward. Thank you for that.
Okay, for discussion, call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Our final item is to authorize payment of a plan review fee to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for a bridge replacement on Mars Hill Road over Allatoona Creek. Mars Hill Road over Allatoona Creek is an approved bridge replacement project in the 2016 SPOS Transportation Improvement Program. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers requires the Mobile District Office to review and approve plans. An administrative fee of $25,000 must accompany the submittal of the plans to be reviewed. Any unused portion of the fee will be returned to Cobb County. If the cost of the review exceeds the fee, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will request additional payment. We request the Board of Commissioners authorize payment of a plan review fee to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in an amount not to exceed $25,000 for bridge replacement on Mars Hill Road over Allatoona Creek.
Commissioner Rutherford.
do we have plans for this for them to review yet?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to make sure we get with Parks, and because we just recently purchased some land, or in the process of getting some land along this creek, and part of that long range is to connect a trail that would go under this bridge.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that any plans accommodate for a multi-use trail that could go under this bridge. Since we're doing it that way, can you get with?
Absolutely.
All right. With that said, motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Call the question.
Thank you, sir.
We're on to tab 6 now.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Manager. Our item this morning is for the board to approve work authorizations 2 and 3 under the contract with Moreland Altabelli Associates Incorporated to continue providing program management assistance, pre-construction services, and construction management for the 2011 and 2016 Parks SPOS programs. Moreland Altabelli was selected and approved by the Board of Commissioners in 2015 after a competitively bid process to assist in the administration of the 2011 and 2016 Parks SPOS programs. We're nearing the end of the previously approved work authorization, and today's approval will provide these services through the end of the program in 2022. Therefore, we ask the Board of Commissioners to approve work authorizations 2 and 3, extending the contract with Moreland Altabelli Associates Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $4,445,136.06 to continue providing program management assistance, pre-construction services, and construction management for the 2011 and 2016 Parks SPOS programs.
Commissioner Weatherford.
A motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. And it passes 5-0. Thanks, Jimmy. On to tab 7 now. Scott?
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. Property has one item, and it's to authorize the purchase of certain real property as a site for the new Fire Station 7. Rebuilding Fire Station 7 was approved by the citizens and is an eligible capital improvement project program under the 2016 SPOS. The Board of Commissioners authorized the purchase of certain real property located at 850 Hurt Road in the amount not to exceed $526,500 pursuant to the purchase and sale agreement attached as site for new Fire Station 7, a 2016 project. Authorize the inspection and valuation of the property in the amount not to exceed $50,000. Authorize a corresponding budget transaction and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Cupid? We have a motion.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes.
All right, thank you.
Passes 5-0. Okay, now we're on to tab number 8. Mr. Hosack. We revised it.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Item 8 this morning is a request for the board to approve funding priorities for nonprofit organizations and agencies. As the board may recall, this item was originally presented during the November meeting of the board. At that time, there were some concerns expressed, and staff has had a chance to sit down with the different district commissioners, prepare some changes to the policies, as well as of yesterday, we also made some changes to the background portion of the agenda item. That has been revised, I believe, and is included in the printed agenda. And at this time, would ask the board to approve the revised funding priorities as included in the printed agenda, sir.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the funding priorities for nonprofit organizations as revised.
Second.
Okay, now discussion.
Is there a way to, the agenda item other than the, is
You
there,
mean this?
yeah, is
Yeah,
there
we
somewhere to put that up?
Put the pink slip up on the screen.
Because I don't think it's in anybody's books, that's all.
Yeah, probably right. I'll just sort of lead the discussion for a second. Obviously, this has been my initiative, trying to find a way to connect taxpayer dollars to how, if we contract for services, to make sure that the services we contract are directly supporting the functions of our government. And what we've done here, if you'll read the new wording, is first of all, we have provided an opportunity, as some members of the community have asked, and members of the board, that we obviously have two major umbrella organizations, the Cobb Collaborative and the Community Impact Funds, where people, organizations can come and ask for county funding through those two. But this wording allows now an opportunity for people to go outside those organizations and come directly to the staff with a proposal as long as they meet the county ordinance. Then the county manager affirms that they can be presented to the board also. So the process is also opened up is more open to people outside the traditional sources, as mentioned by some speakers here. Secondly, by going to the county manager, the programs themselves he'll be affirmed that those programs are connected directly to something that we should be doing in our government, but we're contracting somebody else to do it because they can do it more efficiently and perhaps more cost-effective wise. And I think the problem we've been having is that the perception's been that we're just giving money out because we're a charitable organization, where in fact, we are contracting the services to provide a supplement or complement what we're doing in our government. And there are a number of organizations that are already doing that. Matter of fact, some of them share spaces, particularly in public safety wise. So with the help of Michael Murphy, our special projects coordinator, and a lot of discussion on the board, I think we finally reached the wording and the revising the list of priorities. We finally now have a framework for discussion. And I think it must be also emphasized that just because if we approve the priorities, there's no requirement that we have to fund them. The funding is always matched against what are the real, if there are higher priorities in government, and we want to fund them, there's no obligation because we passed these priorities that we should fund them. So I think we've pretty much covered all the bases here, and I'll just leave the floor for other discussions, starting Commissioner Otson and work down the.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your efforts to come up with the priorities, and especially your last comments there about the fact that just because we approve the priority doesn't necessarily mean that they will all get funded, because I do still have my concerns about funding them, but I appreciate the efforts to establish the priorities.
Yes, thank you. I too appreciate working with all of us to incorporate services that we think are needed and necessary. I know that I feel that this is important for the nonprofits to have guidelines to go by that are services that they provide that maybe we can't or that would cost us additional funding to do. But again, I'd like to reiterate the fact that this is just guidelines and criteria for setting the standards for the nonprofits, and any funding will come back as a separate agenda item at a later date.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank
Commissioner-
you.
Thank you. Commissioner
And
Weatherford.
thanks to Michael Murphy too for all
Absolutely.
his effort.
Commissioner Weatherford.
Thanks, sir. I agree with the changes you've made, including the youth programs, I think was one of the issues last time, as well as having an application process that demonstrates need for the county couldn't address. I would suggest that somewhere along the line that we make public, if it's not already so, what the requirements are to receive a grant.
Sure.
I know those procedures there somewhere, but let's try to make that somewhere where it's more readily available or apparent, and maybe have that available in a packet to hand out to anybody that would like to apply for it.
Yeah, that's a good point, because the guidelines are very strict. It's what qualifies, but again, the process is more open to those who want to, if they want to try and meet that criteria. Commissioner Cupid.
Yes, I'd like to echo the sentiment of the board that I appreciate, particularly the policy on the second page that connects the funding to a need within the county, so there's greater substantiation there. I do have a question about some of the statements regarding the grant priorities and objectives. Am I hearing clearly that this is a suggested list, that this is not a firm list, and that things can be funded outside of this list?
Well, these are the priorities. Obviously, anybody can make a submission to the board, but now the board has guidelines what our priorities are for programs that we would consider for funding if funding was available.
Okay, you said there's no obligation to fund, so what you're providing is that you don't necessarily need to provide funding for each of these.
No,
But
no.
these are driving
Right.
what the prioritization
Right.
of funding is.
This is the universe of priorities, so
Okay.
no, that would be almost impossible to achieve.
Okay.
But that's a great clarification, thank you.
Right now, our current process is a broad one, where
Yes.
anybody could apply for any reason.
Correct.
And I know the youth programs was one that came up last
Mm-hmm.
time. I still have some concern about, narrowing in this manner without public
Right.
comment or vetting. And also, right now, we just don't, there's no, even though these are desired needs, there's no data that substantiates why these needs get elevated above other county needs. So if somebody desires to submit an application that supports the need of the county and could show a nexus to a county agency, if it doesn't fall within these four categories, I'm hearing because these are prioritized that would not be considered.
Well, it says right here, you still be provided an opportunity to demonstrate that your mission meets the community need.
Okay.
So I think it's what it is, it's kind of like, I look at the Constitution, it's broad enough that allows you to be flexible to meet exigent needs.
Okay.
So these are priorities, and it helps us to shape a universe. But again, the language is broad enough where if you can prove that something that you're trying to do is going to meet a need that we might not meet the priority list because things change over time,
Okay.
then the language allows you to bring that to the board if you can demonstrate that need, and we can consider it.
Okay, because I could be open to this where there's that flexibility.
Sure, absolutely,
What I
right.
don't want to do, particularly with this program being somewhat tenuous,
Mhm.
we don't know what's going to happen in the next budget cycle.
Right.
Is to be so limiting, and then all of a sudden, people try to narrow their focus, because nonprofits do that. They try to change their mission to kind of align where
Sure.
funding is, and then we do away with this program possibly for
Right.
next year.
Right.
So as long as we can be flexible, then I could support it.
And Commissioner Cupid, as part of a very good comment from Commissioner Weatherford about publicizing this as far as our process, what the application involves. I think we could also prepare kind of an FAQ that would address some of the concerns that you mentioned about what if it's not listed on the priorities that were approved by the board. I think we could do a little bit more of an explanation in an FAQ document that could be part of that publicized, part of publicizing the application requirements.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. Just for clarification, this does not impact the federal grant
No,
dollars.
no,
This
no.
does not impact Cobb Collaborative. This primarily impacts the Impact Grant Program specifically coming up in.
For now.
For now.
But in
This is the only-
October, the collaborative will come under these guidelines too.
If this continues past the budget cycle.
That's correct.
Okay.
Right.
So we could possibly revisit this.
Well, 'cause-
Yeah, that would probably be a good, if we can revisit this when we revisit the budget so that this is more of a flexible document.
Because we'll see what happens once the impact grants or the application is submitted. It might,
Okay.
we'll have a real world scenario then of how these guidance priorities are working.
Okay.
And then if it's necessary for revisit them, the option's certainly always there. And the board clearly has that openness to do that.
Okay.
Sure, Commissioner Burrow.
Good point. This is just the money that the board allocates. In the past, it's been 250,000 to the impact grants and 850,000, which was approved last month to the collaborative. So it doesn't affect any other, donations or other levels that they receive, private or public.
Right.
It's just the money that we allocate from the county.
Yeah. In response, I share that.
I mean,
because-
our criteria for the money
us.
we allocate.
Because there's been some question about the CDBG program and that grant funding, but this is not
No.
associated with
That's
that.
federal
This is
money.
separate
That's
from-
different.
Yeah, we would,
from-
the CDBG is a separate issue, and we're all aware of what those issues are. But this has nothing to do with CDBG funding, absolutely.
Okay. So again, yes, I support it as long as we have that flexibility. We can review this on an annual basis to ensure that the needs are reflect current community needs.
Okay, any further discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. And I'd like to have Mr. Michael Murphy come up here. And I want to give you this pink sheet, and I want you to frame this thing and put it in your office. Thank you for all your work, Michael. I really mean that. Thank you for all your work with both the nonprofits and for the working with the board. Very admirable. Thank you very much, sir. Tab 9.
Chairman, Commissioners, Pat Riley with the County Attorney's Office. We're here to ask for Board of Commissioners authorization for settlement of a contract dispute regarding the field construction at Milford Park. It was reached during mediation pursuant to direction and within the terms as discussed in executive session on June 27th, 2016, authorizing the mutual release and settlement agreement with Reliant Construction for that dispute, and authorizing the corresponding budget and accounting transactions, and authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 10, Mr. Hosak, you're back. That's the pink.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Item 10 this morning is a request for the board to approve a SPLOST best practices policy, as well as appointing the deputy county manager as the county's designated point of contact for our SPLOST program. By way of very brief background, Mr. Chairman, as part of our efforts to implement the 2016 SPLOST, staff has been actively partnering with the SPLOST Oversight Committee to make sure that the improvements within the projects are managed efficiently and effectively and delivered on time. As an offshoot of that particular partnership with the committee, we are recommending that we establish a new policy in the interest of making sure that the board is fully aware of any operational and maintenance costs that may be associated with the SPLOST projects that are brought forward. As was discussed yesterday, there were a few revisions that the board discussed and that we have included in a revised blue sheet that was included in the board's agenda, and are recommending that the board adopt this policy, as well as designating the deputy county manager as the county's designated point of contact for SPLOST projects and the program, sir.
Okay, with the intent of discussion, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the guidelines as revised. You have a second?
Second.
Okay. Again, this is part of initiative of trying, first of all, SPLOST has always been very, very sensitive program, particularly because it involves taxpayer money. And I think that the reason over time that the SPLOST program has been passed with a little bit more comfortable margins, because the taxpayer has seen that we do exactly with their taxpayer money as we said we were going to. And these guidelines are just to tighten up the review process, to A, have more public input to make sure that whatever projects we're doing receive the scrutiny of the public, and then B, involve the commissioners and the staff to comply with the guidelines in the SPLOST referendum vote. So we had a very spirited discussion yesterday at the agenda prep, and as a result of that discussion, we have come up with these new guidelines. They seem pretty extensive, but I think it just reflects the degree of sensitivity that we are aware of with regard to showing the public that we're spending their taxpayer money very carefully and with a lot of scrutiny. Any other comments? So I'll call the question.
Do we have a motion?
Passes 5-0. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
okay, thank you very
Mr.
much. And now we have tab 11, and, oh, you're back from Denver.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Try to
good
come
to see
back
you.
once a month.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. Morning, Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. Before you today, we have one item, and this is related to the Cobb Douglas Board of Health. And I want to give you a little bit of history on this item. Per the memorandum of agreement dated March 28th, 2017, the Board of Health has committed $1,516,669.44 to help fund the Ackworth-Kennesaw Health Center and the Smyrna Health Center. So the item that we have before you today is to reallocate the funding. This is not changing their commitment in any way, shape, or form. They received a grant October 20th for $664,309. And this agenda item is simply requesting that we use the grant proceeds to be spent first as a part of the $1.5 million commitment from the Board of Health. So with that being said, we're requesting the Board of Commissioners authorize accounting adjustments necessary to reallocate funding from the Cobb Douglas Board of Health for the 2016 SPLOST project at Ackworth-Kennesaw Health Center and Smyrna Health Center, and authorize the reimbursement of any remaining public health services contributions made by the Cobb and Douglas Public Health after the completion of those projects, authorize the corresponding budget and accounting transactions, and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Weatherford.
Thank you. Is Virgil still here?
Yes, sir.
Do you mind if I have him give us a quick update on this project?
Happy to, sir.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, sure.
You just give us status of how this project's going, and because I see it quite a bit, but
I'll address the project in your district first, Commissioner Weatherford. And first of all, on behalf of the Board of Health and Dr. Kennedy, we appreciate y'all's support and working with us on these projects. The new building in your district, Commissioner, is about 55% complete. It's going very well. It's on budget, on schedule. We hope to have it finished and open up in May of 18. We'll be having a groundbreaking. We've already had the groundbreaking. We'll be having a grand opening, and obviously you and the rest of the commissioners will be invited. We're very excited about that project. The project on South Cobb Drive, which is a renovation of a building that we purchased, that's about 75% complete. We hope to have it open and operating in March, April of 18.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you doing
It's also on schedule and on budget.
Good, thank you. Motion to approve is presented. Sorry, Bill, I just wanted to get that in.
Thank y'all again for your support. Thank you very much.
We have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. Thanks, Virgil. Okay, and now we're going to go to tab 13, where we have a number of appointments that require approval. The first one is, I request the board to approve the appointment of Daniela Bray on the Region 1 Department of Behavioral Health and Development Disabilities Board. She'd be at post number 5.
Second.
Have a second? Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. Seek approval for the board to approve the appointment of Carla Jackson, our tax commissioner in Cobb County, to the Cobb County Audit Committee.
Second.
Have a second? Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. And then Commissioner Ott, this one's yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Make a motion to approve the appointment of John Jordan to the Public Library Board of Trustees. And just kind of a little bit about John. Published now about 5 books about World War II generals and important figures, and was the guest speaker at the Library Foundation Gala.
He was. Okay, we have a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? John Jordan. Okay, and call the question. Passes 5-0.
And just,
Sure.
that was replacing Jamela, who moved, and so that's why she got off the board. So just want to thank her for her service.
Okay. And I want to announce the reappointment of Janet Street to the Kennestone Hospital Authority, post 7. So that, we'll start with commissioner comments. Commissioner Ott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and he's not going to like it when I do this, but anyway. Today is my intern's last day, and I'm going to let him come up and tell you what he did his research on, which, yeah.
He's not shy.
Not anymore.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I have been interning with Commissioner Ott, as many of you may know, for the past 4 months, since August. And this is my last and final day before I have to head back to school to continue finals and finish out this semester. So as a part of this internship, there was a significant research component to it. And I looked into SPLOST and its funding and how it is allocated, and if we're meeting both the Georgia Code standards issued by law and our own county standards. And the research found conclusive evidence that we are distributing SPLOST funds with regard to county need. We are not doing it based on the revenue of the location. We are not doing it based on the commission district. And it is being done strictly on what the county needs, which is excellent. Very happy to find that. And it is in implicit compliance with all of the Georgia Code. And once again, I just want to say thank you to Commissioner Ott and Kim Swanson for all their efforts to help me this semester. And I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you, Carter.
Thank you.
Now, he had no idea I was calling him up here.
He needs to come back. You can give that report any day.
Okay, some other things I have is this weekend, a partnership between Cobb Christmas and Cobb Link, the county's transit system, will be the annual Stuff a Bus. Through the 12th and through the 14th, they're going to be at various locations. On December 12th, they'll be at the Cobb Hospital, Windy Hill Hospital, Wellstar Administration. Well, there's a whole big list here. So each day, the 12th will be in one area of the county, the 13th another, and then the 14th over in the East Cobb part. So bring some toys. It goes to a worthy cause. Another thing, I just want to bring your attention to something in John's illustrious paper here. As everyone knows, this weekend, Cobb DOT did an outstanding job, especially also with the help of Cobb Parks. Those of you not seen Jimmy Giese out there with a chainsaw, get out of his way. There's a lot of trees that found out what happens. But anyway, since we had the 1 inch it's not going to stick event, I am happy to inform everyone that the scheduled inclement weather exercise on December 13th is not going to happen. For obvious reasons, DOT has proven their mettle and do not need to practice it. But just kind of a word of thanks to Jim and Erica and all of their staff. I mean, Bill Shelton, phenomenal job this weekend. And we got to finally use the plows, which if we did not have them, none of us would be here today because we would still be stuck in our houses. So great job there. The final item, and in typical Cobb fashion, I can't tell you which firefighter it was because no one would give up the name. But late in November, around Thanksgiving time, at a constituent whose house had a fire and sadly was basically consumed, her house was a total loss. She is a widower, lives by herself. I was unable to go out and see her the next day, and so Kim went out on my behalf to talk to her and see if she needed anything. And her one comment was how impressed she was with the fire department. Number one, in their quick response in arriving at the scene, but more importantly, one of the firefighters made a point to make sure that he brought out all her photo albums. And these photo albums had pictures that were very dear to her of her late husband and her children growing up, which would have been irreplaceable. So she and I would like to thank the crews from the 6 different stations that responded, in particularly Station 15 from Oak Lane and also Station 21 on Lower Roswell. And that's all I have.
Thank you. I believe Brad has a picture. This is our most recent veteran adoption from the Cobb County Animal Control, thanks to the donations from Superior Plumbing for our Superior Pets for Patriotic Vets program. This makes the 20th adoption in our program from the Cobb County Animal Shelter. And this is Rebecca Horn. She's a 4-year Air Force veteran, and she adopted Gideon, who is a 10-year-old miniature pinscher. So we appreciate her adopting a senior pet. And if you are a veteran or know of a veteran that would like a forever friend, dog or cat, from the Cobb County Animal Shelter, we have enough funding from Superior Plumbing donations for about 30 more pets. So there's some forms in the back of the room to fill out and take with you to the animal shelter, where you can sign up there and take home your new best friend. Congratulations to Ms. Horn and Gideon. Aren't they sweet? I'm working on the chairman
Yes,
to
you
adopt
are.
another one. I'm working on the chairman and Judy.
Borough Fresher program.
Yeah. Well, you're a veteran. On December 16th, the Art Place at Mountain View will be showing What Could Go Wrong the Night Before Christmas. And it's a great way to ring in the holidays. So there's more information online, but be sure and check it out. Also, the Cobb Wind Symphony is having their holiday concert on Saturday, December 16th at 8 p.m. in the Lassiter High School Concert Hall at 2601 Shalford Road. I too would like to say thank you to our DOT, 911, EMA, and the power companies for all their dedication and hard work and sleepless nights through the snowstorm, and everyone that chipped in to help and support all of them for keeping us safe and getting us power back on. I'd also like to congratulate KSU football. They had a phenomenal year. They did lose in the quarterfinals of the playoffs this past Saturday out in Texas, but they have so much to be proud of in their 3rd year as a football team, to go that far and have a winning record each year, from the inaugural season to now, is unbelievable. And I'd just like to say hats off to KSU and congratulations, and we'll see you next year.
That comment. Commissioner? Commissioner Weatherford.
Thank you. Wanted to first thank Commissioner Ott, Commissioner Boyce for visiting our various departments during the Snowmageddon, the 1-inch dusting, and the county manager. It was in there. I, like many of our North Cobb and West Cobb neighbors, couldn't get out to do anything like that.
That was intentional.
Apparently, yes. But we were kind of out of power, but in that regard, I'd like to thank our DOT department, our EMA, water, public safety, fire, PD, 911, all of those. And just to show you how good how great we think you are, here's a photo that I wanted to show. I think that pretty much says it all, and we don't really realize how much we need electricity until your refrigerator or groceries you just bought the day before goes bad, for a couple of days. So we want to thank all of those: Georgia Power, Cobb EMC, Ackworth Power, Marietta Power. I believe those are the ones in our area. So thanks for all you did, all the departments that pitched in. It surely is a county to be proud of, and I'm proud to be a small part of that. Also tonight at 6 o'clock at Burnt Hickory Baptist Church, we're going to have the police awards and promotion ceremony. If you get a chance, you might want to come out there and see what amazing men and women we have in public safety and what they've done this year alone, saving lives, risking theirs, going above and beyond, and we'll be honored to be there tonight. And on a final note, I think Carter deserves an A for working with Commissioner Ott for 4 months, because it's hard for me to do it, and I just don't know how he made it that far. So thank you.
Thank you for your usual kind and sensitive remarks, Commissioner Weatherford. Commissioner Cupid.
The less humorous edition is over here. But I too would like to echo my appreciation for staff that was responsive over the weekend. I enjoyed seeing that photo that you had of Superman on the utility pole, because that is certainly how some of our residents felt. And I was privy to get a few emails of thank you in regards towards our employees for their work over the weekend. And I know for those that went not just a day, but days without heat, without power, they truly appreciated your work. Over this weekend, I had the burdensome task of going to the funeral of Edna Uma, who was a crossing guard that passed away on this past week off of Veterans Memorial, or a couple weeks ago. It was a tough funeral to watch. Her life certainly was taken unexpectedly, and just hearing not only from her family but other fellow crossing guards the regard that she had for people and for God and for life was very touching. But it also let me know that any life that's taken on any of our roadways is just, it seems it's one life too many when it's taken by people not being mindful of speed. So, we do have some state corridors that may lend themselves to people traveling at higher speeds in our county. Veterans Memorial is one of them. And I just want to share my appreciation to the Department of Transportation for their initiative in setting up a safety audit in response to this incident, and their intent to look at other corridors in the county to see where there is also an audit needed for safety. And, while I wish I could bring a life back, I just am at least happy to see this level of responsiveness to better ensure that that safety is paramount for our pedestrians and also those who are driving on these corridors too. Monica Delancey was here and shared some words with respect to affordable housing, and because she lives in that tenuous circumstance, it was difficult not to feel her passion and even a bit of frustration in the reality that no matter what policies we put forth, that families who are working every day with children here in Cobb County, one of the most affluent counties in our state. There are families who cannot live here, even as what was referred to. I don't want to perhaps use some of the words because they were unsettling for us to hear, but when Guinevere Reed spoke about the south side of the county, I mean, it is a contradiction. It is a contradiction of what we expect of Cobb County. And the things that lead to these type of issues are layered. But I just hope that, you know, as we celebrate and go to the holidays, that we really take to heart just the level of disparity that is within our county, across district lines almost. I mean, I used to hate to say this, but when I started as a commissioner, and I've had people say this, sometimes you can tell when you cross the district line. And that didn't happen overnight. I can't tell you that that is a intent of this board, and that's not my intent as a commissioner. I just know changing these conditions also don't happen overnight. It's going to take a concerted effort of our community, of our policymakers here on this board, of our community leaders, of a lot of stakeholders, of investors, a lot of people to turn things around. But if we don't start doing that, nobody's going to start doing that for us. So as frustrating as it was to sit up here and hear some of the comments that were being shared, I believe we could start somewhere, and that somewhere is starting with us to do some things. I was very pleased, and serendipitously, Sheriff Neil Warren emailed me at 9:22 this morning saying that he would be willing to have a conversation regarding the proposal that Monica had shared via email. So I wish she was here that I could tell her, don't be weary in your well-doing, and she had to do some research, I think, to make it that far for him to consider it, but just keep pushing. We got to keep pushing. If we don't, nothing is going to change.
Thank you, Commissioner. And usually I just like to adjourn it, but I just have to read this email from one of our more active members of the community, Stephen George, who's been very, very supportive in trying to fill some of these positions on the board, on some of these panels that we have. But I just want to read this letter, a couple paragraphs from this letter he sent me 2 days ago. This was to Chief Register and to Director Sam Heaton. It starts out, "You guys are awesome." And these next two paragraphs are really what got me. "A pair of officers came by today to check on Granny and I. One even actually cleared away the large limbs that were still blocking the road. I had already cut the larger pieces into smaller ones with my chainsaw. The debris just needed to be cleared, and he did it. I didn't ask him to do it, he just did it. How neat is that? Simultaneously, Officer Akram made at least 4 other home visits, community interactions with Mr. and Mrs. Dutchin, who are 80-plus-year-old neighbors, Mrs. Newkirk and her son Pepper. She is well in her 70s, and Pepper is 55 with COPD. The household of a newborn baby who had just gotten home from the hospital Saturday, a real newborn baby, and one of my other neighbors, Chuck Argo. This is just reflective of what I saw this weekend of the county staff that we have. That sometimes we have to bite their lip because we don't respond to criticism. We just do our job and move on. But I just sometimes think that every now and then we get something in our emails. I want to reflect what terrific young men and women, sometimes older, that we have in this county. And every day they inspire me to defend them and be their voice, as I'm sure other members of the board feel the same way because they see the same things too. So with those great words, call this meeting. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Ott.
I just want to say something about another unsung hero that was really instrumental this weekend, and that was Ross Cabot. If you saw all the videos and the information he got out there, he kind of held everything together, and his expertise in getting the word out really showed in helping the community. So I just want to give a thanks to Ross, because nobody just he kind of hangs out down in the hole down there.
He does. With that, we're adjourned.